Eric Agorno here with Performance Golf Zone. In today's video, we're going to talk about the perfect golf swing takeaway. I'm going to give you two simple drills to fix your takeaway if it's not right where we want it. Now, when we're talking about a takeaway, there's a couple pieces that are involved here. And when I say takeaway, I want to define that by, if I take my normal setup, by the time the club gets to parallel to the ground in the backswing, that's what I would define as a takeaway. From setup to about parallel to the ground. Those first few feet of movement is what we're going to call the takeaway, and it could be the most important part of the swing. Now, there's a couple things that I see happen as to where people would go off with the takeaway, and I want to go over those things here first. Now, ideally, when I take my normal setup from here to that spot that I mentioned, which is club parallel to the ground, a couple things that I'm looking for here. From the down the line view, I'd like the club shaft to be roughly in line with the toe line. So if you were to imagine there was a line on my toes between me and the target, I'd like that club to be roughly on that line. Can it be slightly outside that line or slightly inside? Yes, it can, but I would prefer it to be right on that line. The second part that's important is the club head to hand ratio. What I mean by that is, again, from down the line, it should look like roughly my club head is even with my hands in the takeaway position. What we want to avoid is that club head being drastically inside my hands or drastically outside my hands. If you watch better players, I would prefer the club head to be even with or slightly outside or on this side of my hands by the time it's first parallel. I don't want it inside, definitely don't want it drastically inside, and also certainly there could be problems if it's overly outside. So club on the toe line with the club head about even with my hands is the idea there. So let's use that frame of reference and talk about some things that go off. Now, the first thing that I see is most common, probably 75% or more, would be during the takeaway, the hands start to work too far away from my body and the club head starts to work in, or there's too much roll here is what you would call that. So when I start, my hands are only a few inches, there's no perfect alignment for that, but they're a few inches away from my leg. Wherever they start with, the idea is by the time my hands would get to my right thigh, they are the same distance away or slightly closer. I don't want your hands getting farther away from your body. As soon as your hands go out, the club head is going to roll in. Now, this being the biggest problem I see, I'm going to give you drills specifically to fix this problem, and I have two of them that I'll use. Number one is just with a tee. So I have a simple basic wooden tee in my pocket. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that tee in the end of the club in a little hole here, and I'm going to put it in where the majority of the tee sticks out, maybe an inch or so outside the top of it. I'm going to take my normal setup, and again, in an effort to not have my hands work so far away from my body, if you're someone where they work out a foot or so, you're going to have to feel like they work inward towards your right leg, over your right foot, just so that it looks neutral. So what we use to train that is the tee. I want to have the tee touch my right thigh during the first foot of my backswing. And the goal of that is to ensure that my hands work slightly in on the way back, which makes it easy to get that club head in that position that I'm looking for. So tee in, tee brushes against my right thigh, club head's parallel to the ground. Obviously, if I went too far out, that tee is not hitting me and pointed towards the target, compared to the good is hitting me and pointed towards me. That would be drill number one that I would use. The second is an alignment rod. So I have an alignment rod here with tape around it. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it on the side of the club. Now this feels a little bit goofy if you haven't done this before in terms of the grip. So you have to get a little bit used to that, but for drill purposes, it's really good. So on the side of the club, I'll take my normal setup. Now when I do that, you'll notice the club is on my side here. It's on or just above my left hip. It's actually touching my body. Now the goal, if I make a good takeaway, again to the point where I get the club head even with my hands, club roughly on or slightly inside my toe line, we can use this stick here as a reference point. Now if I do it perfect, the stick will point on my toe line. The club's on my toe line, club head's even with my hands, the stick is on my toe line. What we want to avoid is this club working and pointing overly to the right. You can see when my hands go away from my body, my club works in, that stick's pointed about 45 degrees to the right, and we want it here. Well, if you're someone who points 45 to the right, This is a beautiful training aid because you can feel the stick when you go back. You can actually feel like it stays on your leg. See how that rides down my left thigh as I do my takeaway. Now what that does is it ensures that my hands aren't going to go too far away. It'll actually be a little bit more inward than normal, which is fine. It's a slight exaggeration, but will make it much easier for you to get to the point where the club head is parallel to the ground, and even with my hands on my toe line. So those are the two main drills that I would use to have the perfect takeaway position. There are some of you who will have this issue where the hands go out and the club goes out, and I would use those same drills. If you get your hand path part good, where I'm gonna just put this down for a second, if you get your hand path working straight back or slightly inward, and the only part you have to manage is then the club head, then you just want to look and see, hey, is my club head a little inside, is it a little outside? And that's something you can monitor through practice, and you can use those drills to use and give yourself feedback for. So that's the perfect takeaway. One more time, club head, even with the hands, shaft right down the toe line when the club's parallel to the ground are the two pieces we're looking for. If you guys like this video, be sure to click the like button, click the notification bell, leave us a comment down below, and subscribe. If you guys have any questions, we'll talk to you all soon.